We calling you a radical. This is SMR, small modular nuclear reactors for panty painter sissies. Overgrown 60, 70, year 50, 40-year-old fucking baby little children who can't take. And you're so vain you probably think this video's about you. Let's review. Today's the cutoff in Utah. So I'm hoping, I've already got calls in every day to Governor-elect Cox, who, of course, the guy who knows more about it than anyone is Huntsman. I was in Russia. Kevin, to me, right there. The school that I used to teach at. The #1 school business in the United States that I graduated at. Wharton's sister school. Yeah, Trump's school. Trump faked his shit to get in. By the way, the E.O. Wattis nuclear fucking school business, the ethics out the yin yang, the #1 school business in the United States, 9 consecutive years via the testing. Unarguable fact. I have the last recommendation the legendary finance professor Clyde Cooley, the best finance professor in the world, wrote. But they're all dead. Both Davises are dead. Bruce Handley's dead. Clyde Cooley, Mad Cow. I go on and on. How about Kyle Madsen? Lung cancer, non-smoker, young. They're all dead. They're all dead except for Mike Bond. He's a yes man from hell. Coattail writer. So, he never, what he did to me. But anyway, this is what these monsters think of. So let's review. By the way, why isn't somebody bringing up Trump's sister, the judge? You know, the one with the integrity. She says Trump paid someone to, look it up. The tape's out. Paid someone to get him in, paid someone to take his test, and he talks about how smart he is. Yeah, a guy who lost $1 billion. He's smart. He's a con man. Just like these guys. So, and Utah's been had. So when Obama rolled into Utah here, everybody couldn't figure out. The only state he hasn't visited, I was on to him. I knew. It was about this SMR nuke. Now, stay with me. The SMR, small modular nuclear reactor, blew up on 8/8 in Russia last year. John Huntsman was the ambassador. I asked him, well, what about the, one blew up? Yes, Kevin, I collected the data, but he lost running for governor. So why would Utah be funding these things? So let's review. Downwinders, the sheep gassed at Dugway in Utah. Oh, the sheep are being gassed. So little nuclear reactors, SMRs, they're safe. No, they're not. So this is the shakedown and the sham that Price Anderson came up with. What's Price Anderson? That's the congressional act that was passed in the 50s. There's no liability. You can't sue these guys. They're private entities. Bill Eugenics, Gates, and Klan. They're all private entities. So the way it works, you form a shell company, act like you have some money in it. You don't even have to have the money in it because the FBI won't do anything about it. Let's see if we can get David O. McKay's freaking name up here. It's important. So, that's all you hear all day, every day. The military industrialist complex got mad. There's your looters. There's your welfare claims. God, on cue. Same plan. So they tried to put a nuclear reactor on the Green River here called Blue Castle. I was fighting a fight tooth and nail. They had the original funding. Like I say, you have to get the original funding. The government matches your grants. Lead Dog Hedge Fund. Well, I'm out of the hedge fund industry. I was in the old days. I walked away in 2000 because of death, cancer death of the people that I cared the most about. And I agreed to come back and teach this program as the MBA because Clyde Cooley had just died of mad cow in '99. So I exposed that it was a fraud. There is no lead. It was a company out of Colorado. It was a sham. Right? I was in the bone marrow transplant at LDS East State full of leukemia. Think about the timing of my cancer. I can't believe people are asleep on the Julian Assange trial. The CIA whistleblower testified yesterday that the CIA, the United States Intelligence Service, are poisoning people, going after people, doing all kinds of dirty tricks to people. He testified to that yesterday in a court of law on the Julian Assange extradition. It's unbelievable. He said the Trump and the Obama administration are actively killing freaking activists. Testified to it. So, here comes Nuscale. I'm like, what the hell's this? Quite a few years ago, I got involved. I'm like, So the SMR, the Small Modular Nuclear Reactor, really was originated at Idaho National Lab. Same place this is due. They know that. So it blew up there at Arco, Idaho. It killed 3 people, blew to smithereens, radiated the entire freaking place. We all know that, you know. Well, I thought we did. Everybody forgot. This is what they think. This is an actual nuclear reactor that made this. Now you think about this. Think about these creeps. The bribes being exposed. So, shortly thereafter, Santa Susana, Rocketdyne, in the valley. All you valley girls are dying of cancer, which Stevie Nicks made an incredible statement about it. You know, Robin Anderson died, her best friend from Arcadia High School. How about Vince Neil sued him, his little girl, 11 years old. Oh, they killed her. How about Kim Kardashian just made a freaking statement about it? But then they all back down. Because they want to live next door to LeBron, King, fucking James. Where's your fucking crown? It's disgusting. Celebrities die of this too. So, it full blown out nasty meltdown they just covered up. So that's 2. Then, last year, oh no, it was a nuclear weapons test. No, we picked up the tracer elements in Sweden, in the dishes, to prove that, because there's only certain tracer elements that are in a nuclear reactor. We picked them up. Putin even made a statement saying that it was a nuclear, because he knew we had picked up. Killed their 8 lead scientists. It'll happen again up there. So what happened, Nuscale, Obama rolls into town, hooks up with the Mormon CIA church, and you don't think I have the right? Abraham Hunsaker IV, my grandfather. Without Abraham Hunsaker the Hunsaker, there is no Mormon church. He was a Mormon socialist, by the way. He didn't believe in inherited wealth. Those are the guys that found the gold at Sutter's Mill. Oh yeah, that's my line. I'm his grandson. I didn't inherit any wealth. He didn't believe in it. Required to get an education, required to speak multiple languages, required to learn trades. By the time we were young, I mean, whoa, I think about that path. Wow. Hardcore. So he rolls in. This program, all of a sudden I see it, it starts popping up, nobody's reporting it, that they're going to individual municipalities. They're going to Kaysville, they went to Morgan, they went to Logan, they went to Lehigh, they went to all these little different municipalities, and says, here, we'll give you a $200,000 grant. Grant for what? For, just form a foundation. We'll form your foundation for you. To individuals. They did it to the mayor in Kaysville. They did it to all kinds of individuals. So they set up these fake shell companies. Then they just handed them $200,000 to go ahead and say, yes, we will fund this Nuscale nuclear reactor. Fraud from hell. That was Obama's doing. Barry Antoinette Obama, propped up by the nuclear. I got to tell you, our group asked him in 2008 on the Stump in Chicago. Hillary was running ads against him. He's propped up by the Nuclear Energy Crime Syndicate in the battleground states. What are you going to do about Hanford? He was asked. This is your smart president. Got to tell you, don't know what Hanford is. Remember, this guy propped up by the nuclear cartel. And I have the transcript from inside the Situation Room. Word for word, it was all covered up to protect the Nuclear Energy Crime Syndicate. And then I know the transcript between the Obama-Trump handoff and Abby, who's dying of cancer right now in Japan. I have it. I know fucking well it was all the cover-up of Fukushima. And Trump was offered gargantuan sums of money to keep continuing. He accepted. It's a fact. Him and Abe, for Japanese PM to meet with the president once. And when Abe first did come here, where'd he go? MIT Media Lab. Why is that significant? Because that's where Aaron Swartz downloaded it. That's where why would Aaron Swartz hand the chip to Laura? Oh yeah, she won an Academy Award. She's the daughter of the MIT Media Endowment Billion. Oh yeah. It's disturbing. Then they kill Aaron Swartz. Obama and Trump are identical twins. So, then they get this and they start grandstanding through here. I'm like, what the fuck? So I start digging in. They're on this university. There's videos of me inside there with a camera in their face. You liars, blah, blah, blah. In the Utah State House, they're set up a table underneath the stairs, hiding, having a party while the legislators are in session. Another guy from Idaho who was protesting with me was arrested in Idaho for protesting INL, for calling this out, going after Jose Reyes, and he was talking to Sean Reyes at the time. Now, I've talked to Sean Reyes, and Sean Reyes denied that he knows anything about this, and he knows anything about anything, but he's sure, at the Bear River Massacre, and he sure made a hardcore point to distance himself from Jose Reyes. Twice at the end, he turned around and comes to me and he says, I want this to be perfectly clear, I'm not related. Okay, he is related to that madman in the Philippines, but this is his state, so I don't know, he may be working on it right now. I don't know. I think do I think he just doesn't know? No, I know he knows. But the pressures there are. We'll see how it plays out. So then it goes forward. I catch him. It's against the law to lobby while they're in session. It's illegal. I catch him. The video's all over. Proof. I've done this over and over and over. So then I dig in and I find out their original funding was Kenwood Financial. Now remember, I graduated the #1 school business in the United States. #1. I have the last letter of recommendation Clyde Cooley ever wrote, the #1 finance professor in the country. I was a derivative arbitrage specialist, one of the best in the country at it. This is the kind, I can go through a balance sheet so fast, make your head spin off. So I dug through the due diligence on this thing. I'm like, Kenwood Financial, so then I started digging. I found out that they'd been accused over and over again, being a shell company, propped up. So the SEC is actively involved against Obama's wishes, his own SEC. And they find out that they are nothing but a pure shell company Ponzi scheme. They go after them. They find them guilty. The SEC finds them fraudulently guilty in a criminal court of a Ponzi scheme. This is the original funding for Nuscale, these little reactors that Utah are funding. Today's the cutoff. So that makes it defunct by definition. Immediately defunct. Over. Oh no. Not in the United States use. It's just like the Mox fuel plant in Savannah River, South Carolina. The DOE goes in there and catches them $29 billion. Now, I spoke, and I was radically involved in that in the early 90s. Remember, I was a Wall Street guy. And, that's what I did. So, the finances. Environmental economist. I broke down the finances, how much it would really cost. I submitted everything, I was asked to do it. $456 million, they were saying. I'm saying, no, it'll be billions. $29 billion. The DOJ goes in the end of the Obama administration and does an internal investigation. It's reported in the Washington, Jeff Bezos, his father, the nuclear physicist at Los Alamos, all of them. His grandfather. The due diligence shows $29 billion. So they go in and they investigate. They've reported to the United States taxpayer that they're 74% completion. They go in there and says they're 28% complete. So you do the math, they've defrauded the United States taxpayer of $20 billion. So the Obama administration pulls the plug. Allison McFarland, the only person ever got in the head of the NRC, under the cover-up of Fukushima's face. Allison McFarland was me. At the San Juan Cop Story, I confronted her face to face. She ran out the back door, had a driver ready, and literally physically ran from me. Now, I'll take her over this one we have now. So the head of the new Nuclear Regulatory Committee worked at Idaho National Lab with Jose Reyes. You cannot make it up. That's where they both worked. Idaho. That's government. Talk about Fluor, which this university where Fluor was started. Who's Fluor? Gee, they're all the same club. Chicago Bridge and Iron, Areva, Westinghouse, all bankrupt. Isn't that a conflict of interest? She's the head of it. That's the Trump Nuclear Regulatory Committee. That should kill it right then, right? It's unbelievable, this fraud. So they've looted already out of these Utah municipalities millions of dollars. They got a federal grant of $50 million. Now, Trump's dumped them another $50 million. Trump's throwing out nuclear pork like no tomorrow because they're a mob, and he's a wannabe mobster. It's disturbing. They don't have it. They've already backed it out 3 years. Now they backed it out another 3 years, but Utah is, hook, line, sinker. They don't care if they ever get it. They never did. This is just a big fluke. Tim's up in Corvallis at Oregon State, the nuclear U. There's a nuclear reactor at the football stadium there. I know Gary Anderson, who went up there and, from the University of Utah and got that big contract. He hated it there. He says, that culture's so corrupt. Came back. He's back at Utah State, Logan, I'm the guy that put it in the ear to back it out. And again, I want to say this on my Great Salt Lake historical work. You guys that are just saying, oh, it's water coming out. My work proves that the increase in water being taken out of the rivers by so-called farmers, whatever, is increased from 2012, 8%. 8% increase over 2012 to 2020. The lake from 2012 to 2020 has decreased 65%. Can you do math? It's not bad. That's a problem right there. Snow Basin, Branson's kids, You know, I know Stuart Adams personally, who gave him the bill to go forward on it. It's so fraud, it's so corrupt, it's unbelievable. They can gift in Utah. So, you know, I get into the corruption of Rick Perry. It's so corrupt with Rick Perry. You know, we had a conversation with this woman activist from Texas. Texas is the world leader right now in wind and solar power. Yeah, Texas. You know, the nuclear waste, Rick Perry, you know, you want to talk Beau Biden. How about Rick Perry's corruption? He was head of the Department of Energy with this freaking corruption. I mean, he's so corrupt. You know, the waste management antitrust lawsuit that's filing energy solutions would be out of Utah if it wasn't for that antitrust suit. So the whole thing is 100% based on fraud. Now, the FBI goes into Ohio, which I worked on that, trying to block that bill. I'm the original guy in New York that tried to block Status King Cuomo in the $7.6 billion. So we have what we call the AMPS bill in Utah. I was paramount in getting the AMPS bill put together. What the AMPS bill was well over 10 years ago was a program for solar. Same mirrored program in New York. We went door to door, house to house. People signed up to get their energy from solar. The accounts got flush with money. The nuclear entities got their eyeballs, and they go in there and say, oh, well, the bill doesn't say nuclear energy. Let's change it. Let's call nuclear energy renewable. So New York never did legally do it. The legislators are still this day not vote. Status King Cuomo, just freaking his best buddy Trump and crew, just gave him $7.6 billion on these closed 9 Mile Island, Fitzpatrick, you know, Indian Point, these mass murders. Same thing happened in Ohio. They went in there. We fought them. I fought them. And then we knew the fraud was going on. We fed the FBI on a silver platter. The FBI goes in and busts the 4 lead Republican legislators, the House Speaker, for taking $61 million in bribes from the nuclear energy to get it through. Yet it was based on bribes. Yet their own attorney general has to sue his own state to block them from giving the money after they proved it, the bribers, for giving the bribers the money after they've been caught dead red. Same thing happened in Illinois. He pleaded guilty yesterday. He was a Democrat. Democrat, Republican. In Utah, same thing happened. Same thing happened. Same thing in Idaho. I've talked to Crapo about it. He won't do it. I mean, he knows, yet he still promotes this. And then they'll say jobs. There's no jobs at INL. There's no jobs at Energy Solutions. It's just a shakedown, looting sham of money. So in Utah, it's all fraudulent. It's the legislators that took the money. And what kills me about they arrest in Ohio, they arrest in Illinois. You know, there's going to be arrests here soon in Utah, but they go after the bribees, not the bribers. You know, nuclear energy, because they're the untouchables. These little SMR nuclear reactors have been kicking around for decades. They're a catastrophe. You know, Holtec, they're in more fraud. It's just all fraud. It's, you know, where's your crown, King James? He bought the soap opera, which the NBA is. Think about that metaphor. He bought the Young and the Restless's freaking soap opera mansion. That's his third or fourth $20, $30, $40 million mansion in LA alone he owns. It's disgusting. All the good he could do with this fucking money. Damian Lillard, who's supposed to be around here. I'm going to try to get an interview. I hear he's here. You know, we'll talk. But his agent, I talked to his agent, his bodyguards, his Portland, you know, you can see there's videos when he made that shot in the game. I'm doing the play-by-play. The guy sitting next to me is Damian Lillard's bodyguard that works for the Portland Trailblazers. Now think about that one. Paul Allen, the billionaire, who, by the way, was with Maxwell. You know, Bill Gates stole the operating system here. It was invented here by Bruce Bastian and Alan. WordPerfect, right here. iOmega, right here. Novell, right here. But WordPerfect was the inventor of the operating system. David O. McKay's grandson, Alan Ashton. Fido Farnsworth, grandson, Bruce Bastian. You know, they stole it. And then the fight, because he come out in church meeting, says, oh, I'm gay, blip, blip. You can't make this shit up. So, a little nookie never hurt anyone. Okay, a little nookie. So, it's out there. You know, I'll tag it. I put up some videos that I found I did a long time ago this morning just because it's so relevant. I mean, Kevin Blanch, the ultimate broken record. But, you know, the NSA has control. Talk about shadow banning. Now, they got the brakes on me. I have proven. I have gone to the FBI. I have proven why I'm in critical condition fighting for my life. I have proven the trolls they hired. The NEI, the United States Department of Energy, the CIA, they hired trolls to physically and fucking online slander me and attack me while I'm in critical condition. I got cancer. I went in the bone marrow transplant on 11/11. By the way, E.O. Wattis, the School of Wattis, yeah, that's floor construction. That's Little Nuscale. It's who it's named after. 3 days after they got the contract to build the dam, Hoover Dam, he died of AML leukemia. I mean, it's what we all do. It's the Wattis curse. And if you don't believe me, ask Damian Lillard. Up by 22 points in the Big Sky Championship game at halftime and lost. Johnson said he never missed a free throw, never missed a field goal the entire game. After the game, he was done an interview, and he says, what happened? You've never done that after? You've never done that before. I had an out-of-body experience. Oh, boy. So I taught here for years. They blackballed me, and they went Chinese supplies. So they tested #1 in the country. You know, I lectured at Wharton. The Wharton professor used to come here and lecture. Trump faked it, you know. I didn't. But they blackballed me because of my stance against it. I remember Dr. Cooley before he died. He says, Kevin, you know they're going to go after you viciously. You keep this fucking anti-nuclear stance. But I had a lot of money, I had a lot of clout, and I had a lot of power then. They're going to go after you. And I says, yeah, I know. What do you think? And he says, keep doing what you're doing. Stand on high moral ground, Kevin. I really support you. That's Clyde Cooley, the #1 finance professor in the United States, bar none. Now they rank. They've tested 520. They tested 512 and doubled it. Their Chinese supply chain oligarchy in there. They're the creepiest creepies of creeps now. When it used to be this incredible school of business. But that's why. So, you know, I don't know how much I can keep doing this and telling you because they got me so shadow banned. Here we go. On cue. What is that rumble and roar? That's the Lightning, the F-35. That's where all your money's going. You know, there's the welfare queens. The nuclear center, the military industrialized complex. You know, the boogeyman, boogeyman, boogeyman. You know, 9/11. Wow, I could do a whole dissertation on that right here, but, you know, one book at a time. Write a book. What do you think this is? It says published. So today's the cutoff. It's important that I put this up today. Flip your can. Nice. Where's your crown? MBA from Hard Hats Crowns. Dick Motta. Dick Motta used to have a class right there. Not that long ago. He used to do a class. Yeah. Wesley Unseld. Now it's Wesley Unseld Jr. Wesley Unseld. He coached that championship team in 1978. Remember when they used to wear the Unseld hard hats? The average NBA player made less than 3 times the average working class American. Now, you know,